Addiction, recovery, redemption. These are survivor stories. You are listening to Shattered.
Today I have Sheila and Scott Flournoy, brother and sister. This is the first time that we've had brother and sister, so I'm glad that we're doing a podcast like this. Scott, I'll start with you. Let's start talking. So your childhood, both of y'all's childhood, was actually very good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
But your first troubled in your teenage years started at 14. So let's talk about that.
Well, I found a baby book. I didn't even know I had a baby book, and it had my name wrong. It said Scott Joseph McKinnon instead of Scott Joseph Flournoy. It kind of threw me for a loop, and said parents Russell and Sherry McKinnon instead of Gary and Sherry Flournoy. So I asked my mom about it the next morning, and I thought it was just I wasn't prepared for what she was about to tell me. I remember her just breaking down crying. I don't know if Sheila remembers it or not, but she said, you're going to stay home from school today. We need to go talk to your dad. And we took Sheila and dropped her off at school or put her on the bus. I don't remember. And my dad worked for the city of DeQueen and Parks and Recreation. He was the park maintenance supervisor. And we went there, and my mom just got out of the car and said, he wants to know about his biological father. Well, I don't even know that I knew what a biological father was,
Right.
But my dad proceeded to tell me, he said, I'm not really your real father. I adopted you when you were about 5 years old, or maybe I was a little younger. I know him and my mom got married when I was 5. My mom said I first called him daddy when I was like 2. It was on their first date. So he's been my dad my entire life. The other man spent most of his life in prison. He was convicted here in Sevier County in December 1984 on a 40-year sentence. And he didn't get out till 26 years later, and then he died in 2016, I believe.
So you really never got to know him?
No, never wanted to. He was a very bad man. He was from Orange County, Georgia, and to what I know most about him, he was convicted for murder at a young age, and he had a couple rape charges. He was a pretty bad guy. My mom, I think, was with him for about 6 years and never knew who he really was, So I didn't think at the time that it bothered me, but I feel like that was also the same year that my Nene died. Nita Gillespie she owned the Young Expressions Youth Center in DeQueen. She was actually my great aunt. But she was a saint in my book, and we loved her, and that kind of took a toll on me at 14 as well. And like I said, I don't think I really realized that maybe that had a little bit of effect on me with the dad situation until I went through the RSAT program and I had to write a life story, and I really, really touched on some things that I realized maybe that did bother me.
You kept it suppressed.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong, I mean, my dad's my dad.
Right.
And he'll always be my dad. And I love that man. He was good to us, man. He really was. Good dad. And matter of fact, he gave me and Sheila the world. We never went without.
Right.
And but I also know at the age of 14 was when I first started smoking marijuana, and it wasn't until I was 16 that I started using meth, and I really quickly went to the needle. I started shooting meth, and whether it was drinking or meth or whatever it was, I stayed in my addiction for however many years until December the 20th of last year when I went into Sevier County Jail.
Right. You just went for the gusto. You just went straight to the needle and went whole hog.
Yep.
Sheila, at what age did your brother introduce you to marijuana?
11.
And so,
Oops.
so how long you guys were close, apparently, and so you introduced her to marijuana, and you guys smoked pot for how many years before you kind of ventured on to opioids?
I really, I quit smoking weed when I was probably about 15, and then because I had moved schools and I was back into cheerleading and softball and stuff, and I wasn't doing anything. I got married at 16, had a house, then graduated school, then was in college and stuff. So I wasn't doing anything for years. And then at 21, I decided to leave, and I got divorced and moved back to Horatio, and that's when I did dope then.
And in that time, it was opioids.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
you started taking hydrocodones.
No, I started doing dope.
Dope.
I started smoking meth.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. It was shortly after that I started taking Xanaxes.
Just for the record, I didn't introduce her to the meth.
No.
I was pretty upset when I found out about her doing it for
That
the
she
first
was-
time.
Yeah, he
because I
showed up
knew-
the next morning.
Yeah, I actually showed up, and I knew I was like, and I knew my sister was high, and then I knew how bad the needle had taken a toll on me, you know.
Right.
So of course she wasn't. Don't get me wrong, she didn't do it like that, but still, it's a terrible drug.
Right. You didn't want her to end up like you.
Exactly.
Yep. It was on from there.
Yep.
When you were 16, did you marry someone quite older?
No, he 2 years. He was
Oh,
2 years
really?
older than me. We met in high school, and we got married.
You just thought that was it.
I mean, he was a good guy. He
Yeah.
was a really good guy. He took really good care of me. He worked in the oil fields. We buying a house when I was 16.
Yeah.
Really?
He was a good guy. I mean, I feel like if we would have did that later in life, if I would have been
Right.
able to live as a teenager,
Right.
like a normal teenager should have, you know, spread my wings then,
Yes.
you know, I wouldn't have wanted to leave, I don't think.
You was
I
just
think
so
I
young.
think we were just too young.
Right.
Because he was a good guy. Like, he, you know, his parents were drug addicts and stuff, so he was very opposed to drugs. And that's
Right.
why I originally quit smoking weed
Right.
when we started seeing each other.
And then when you moved back here, another relative kind of introduced you to
yeah,
meth.
I was actually really drunk that night. I was drunk off Jim Beam, and everybody just kind of started disappearing, and I was like, where did everybody go? I go back to the back room where everybody's at, and there's just smoke, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? You know, then I was just curious, and so that happened. That's when I did it.
And after that one time, you just became addicted.
Oh yeah, I went hard for a while.
I was pretty upset. I think a lot, like my sister said, she had everything going for her that you could imagine by the time she was at a young age. I mean,
Right.
buying a house and vehicles, and she didn't do anything. As a matter of fact, she was kind of the square of the family at that point, you know.
Yeah, I always like
The party
snarled them
pooper.
if
Yeah.
they're smoking weed. I'm like,
yeah.
why do
Y'all don't
do
even be doing
that?
that stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like turning on a light switch for her when her and Kyle split up, and she went hard in the paint.
I wasn't drinking and partying. I was
Yeah.
on something.
At what age did you start having children?
I had Bentley when I was 23.
And were you using during that time?
When I found out I was pregnant, I stopped. But, you know, I didn't find out for, you know, a few months. But,
Right.
yeah, I quit when I was pregnant. I always quit when I was pregnant. You know, anytime. But, you know, it didn't take but
Unfortunately,
a minute when I
the-
came back
Right.
from having the baby. Because her dad was he was just as bad, if not worse, on everything as I was. So, I mean, that doesn't...
the baby's daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it didn't make it any easier.
Well,
to
for
not.
sure.
So, yeah, it didn't take long, and we was going hard again. Plus, we knew he was about to be going to prison, so he was already like, well, I'm going to,
Might
go
as
hard
well.
until I go,
Right.
So it was even probably worse because of that. But, yeah, it didn't take long.
What was your rock bottom?
Well, I guess when I used the needle was probably my low, like. But I didn't only use it like last month or two that I was even using at all. Yeah, and just I don't know. I mean, you can just feel like you can just feel you're like slowly everything slipping. You know what I mean? Everything's slowly slipping away, and you're like losing grip of.
Right.
You know.
Meth is just sucking the life
Yeah,
out of you.
and at the same time, you're like, I don't know, drowned in, I feel like, and you don't know. I don't know. I kind of got to that point where I was just there, doing it to be there.
What happened? What event happened that your children were taken away from you?
Bentley, well, I was pregnant with Paisley, but Bentley got took. I was already in jail in the RSAT program for less than 20 days. And I had left Bentley with her dad to be around up at my mom's and stuff, be taking care of her dad. And he was still, I didn't think he was doing it like that hard, I guess, like he was, but he just got real bad on dope one night and had her out tweaking all night, which, I mean, like, in the woods, on four-wheelers, stealing four-wheelers.
Right.
Just a lot of, like, dangerous, crazy things, especially a 4-year-old doesn't need to be out all night.
Absolutely.
Doing things like that. And so he got a charge for, he got a child endangerment, but he got many charges that night. I couldn't even tell you what they all were. And so she got took that morning, and then they came to the jail to let me know that I lost custody because I was already incarcerated.
Right.
So, I lost everything as well when he did that. So,
why were you arrested?
I had a possession charge and a paraphernalia charge one night. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you about that night because I was so gone. I don't remember.
Right.
I remember pulling up to my house that night and going inside and taking a bunch of Xanaxes and Somas, and then I thought I was in bed asleep. Like, I thought I was asleep until, like, I blacked out, I guess, But later on, Clinton, told me, he was like, no, like, you was up in this end of the house, and I was in this end of the house. And I had that bag that I don't know where I was going, but I packed this bag that had...
I remember that night quite well.
Random clothes, a ski mask, gloves. Like, I was going to rob somebody. I don't know.
How many Xanaxes would you take at one time?
I don't know. It depends on how many I had.
She took a lot of pills.
I took a lot of pills.
I mean, like 10, 15?
No, I'd probably take I could take probably 2 or 3 bars. But the more I would be messed up, if I had more, I'd just steadily be eating them,
She would always forget that she would be like, I'd be like, you already took Xanax bars. She'd be like, no, I forgot, And so Xanax make you forget. So
Yeah.
she'd forget and take more and forget and take more. And I don't think
when they're all gone, I'm like, somebody's been in my pill.
Yeah, she was.
Then
And
I'm
I don't think
mad.
it was as bad as just the pill, but she got to where she'd just about eat any kind of pill there was. If it was Soma or muscle relaxers or...
You'd mix them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then did you mix alcohol on the top of that?
No. Once I started doing drugs, I really kind of dropped the drinking.
She wasn't much of a drinker, really.
No,
Right.
I went through a phase of drinking a lot, but then when I started doing drugs, really, I kind of dropped drinking and stuck to that.
Right. You're kind of like your brother. You just go whole hog on it.
Man,
Yeah.
I did. I went 100 fast.
Scott, what was your rock bottom?
I had a lot of things that happened over the course of however many years, close to 20 years, I guess I was doing dope. I was more of what they called a binger.
Mm-hmm.
So I might go for 6 months or a year and hold down a job and do right. And then when I got on it, I went hard for months at a time, weeks at a time.
Lose your job.
Exactly. The best part, the best I feel like I was ever doing really at one time was when I was 18. Me and Brandy, with our first child, found out we was pregnant with a little girl, and she died due to the umbilical cord strangling her. It's the only girl I ever had. Her name was Julie Nicole. She's buried in the Redmond Cemetery. That really took a toll on me, and don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming my addiction on her by no means, but it took a toll on me. But my hardest rock bottom was when I come back from Colorado. I was in Colorado up in Aspen, Glenwood Springs, doing really good, making the big bucks roofing. And I worked for D. Hauser here for a long time, many, many years, dequin roofing and siding, and I did good. I'd have my weeks where I'd get on one and I'd binge and I'd not show up for work, and eventually enough was enough, and it cost me my job. And I went to Colorado, and I ended up going to jail up there. My truck was in my mom's name, the only person that could get the truck out of impound was the person that was on the registration.
Right.
She had to drive. She's like me. She's not flying anywhere. So she had to drive 1,600 miles, 22-hour trip to come up there. We got snowed in up there. Couldn't get across the Continental Divide, you know, the Vale Pass and whatnot was just snowed over. It was crazy. But when I come back, for some reason, in 2016, I decided I was going to get back on dope. I really had planned on doing it for the weekend. You know, I was going to get high, get it out of my system, and I couldn't get up. This was the one time in my life I couldn't drop it. And from December 2016 till December 20th, 2018, I was on it bad.
Right.
And I got to where I couldn't support my habit. I was stealing money from my mom and taking things from siphoning gas out of my grandma and papa's motorhome. I mean, just things I never was considered myself a thief ever.
Right.
But I got so bad, it was bad. I mean, to the point that some of my family just realized that this was me. I was a junkie, and that's just what I was going to be. I mean, I was going downhill fast.
You were burning bridges.
Real bad. I mean, I wasn't there for. My son was diagnosed with cancer when he was 7. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and something that it's hard for me to talk about because I'm still working on forgiving myself, you know, because he did 3 years of chemo, and I wasn't there, you know, and I have a pretty good relationship with him now. He's going to be moving in with us and whatnot. But
Is your son in remission?
oh yeah, he's been off chemo since I think 2016, something like that.
Good.
But he's also since then been diagnosed with chronic Epstein-Barr virus. He's got some things that he'll live with forever. A lot of it, his growth is stunted. There's a lot of things that the chemo done to him, just poisoned him, you know. And like I said, the biggest part was just his daddy wasn't there, you know. He used to have this green toolbox that it was a metal toolbox, one of them old toolboxes. And when his mom and dad didn't show up for him when he was waiting on them, you know, he would go out there and beat on that toolbox. That was his way of relieving his anger, and it's just a terrible thing, man. I know that he loves me. He'll be 14 in August. I know he loves me, and he says that, you know, it doesn't bother him, and he forgives me, but, you know, there's a subconscious part there that he'll never, I mean, he went through it. We put him through it real bad.
Right.
But either way, when I got real bad, and like I said, between 2016 and December 2018, I had to support my habits somehow. I ended up stealing a motorcycle from a really good friend of mine. It was a 1973 Triumph. And it's kind of funny, though, because I did it almost in a way that I knew I was going to eventually get caught for it. And my addictive brain was telling me I was either going to get rich off this motorcycle, you know, and I was going to be all right, or I go to prison, you know, for a year or two, which I've never been to prison.
You were willing to gamble at
Yes, I was. At least I thought I was. Mm-hmm. My addictive part of my
right.
brain thought I was until it came down to it. But when they finally, I told my mom, they were telling me, you know, I'd seen my sister was doing really good, you know, and I'd seen how happy she was by going and taking $300-400 of her own money and her own check and buying Christmas.
Right.
For the first time, probably, that she had done all on her own, mm-hmm. without the help of mom and dad, right. buying gifts for her kids, you know. And I wanted that. And Sheila had talked to me a lot, like, look, you need to just turn yourself in. I knew the laws was looking for me.
Over the stolen motorcycle.
Yes. And she's like, you need to go turn yourself in, get in that program. They'll get you in the program. It'll help you. It'll change you, da-da-da-da. My grandma, she said, I'll do everything I can to help you. But I was bound and determined I wasn't going to go to jail before Christmas. One night, I guess it was December the 6th, I told my mom I needed to use her ride. She had like a 2015 Nissan Rogue and little SUV. And for the first time in her life, for whatever reason, she had let the insurance drop on it. and she was like, be careful, because I let the insurance drop them. I'll go next week and pick it back up. Her and my dad was going through it, about to split up and all that good stuff, and a lot had to do with me,
Right.
And I just drunk up through the ringer, and I was it was about 2:30 in the morning, and I was 3 miles from home, just north of Grannis by the big water tower on the right, and I fell asleep at the wheel, and I flipped that car, and I totaled it out.
Were you high?
I'd been up for days. I was high. I had dope on me, needles on me. I mean, you name it. Matter of fact, I had a machete this daggum big sitting in the front seat. It's a wonder it didn't lop my head off,
Yeah.
I come out of that wreck without a hair out of place on my head. There's a miracle from God. I know that.
Right.
Of course, I climbed out of the car, knew I had warrants. Laws was looking for me for felony warrants and stuff, and I bolted out into the woods. And my mom was actually woke up that early that morning by flashlights shining down the hallway in her house, and it was the police, and telling them they'd found her vehicle smashed on the side of the road. And it's a wonder I should have died in that wreck. And if I'd have been in my truck like I normally am, I would have died. But that Nissan Rogue, that would have been a good commercial, because it had airbags in places I didn't even know. I mean, there was
Right.
airbags everywhere. But I can remember hitting my knees and asking God to just help me, save me from myself, because I didn't know how to do it.
While you're out in the woods hiding.
Yes, save me from myself. And I even told my sister and them, she can tell you, I was like, I want to get off the needle. I want to get off dope so bad. I want to be different, and I just can't.
Right.
I absolutely can't do it. And
Just
I told
shows
them
how powerful meth is.
exactly, it is very powerful. And of course, I had asked God to myself a couple times to please help me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I told my mom, there's no way I'm going to jail before Christmas. I'm not going to jail before Christmas. I'm going to wait this out. My birthday's January the 8th, and I'll probably wait that out. And of course, I'd have had more excuses
Right.
after that, you know how it is. But laws showed up at the house on December the 20th, 5 days before Christmas, and I went to jail, and that's where I got in. And at first, I was like, I don't know nothing about no motorcycle. They had a piece of the broken tail light, and they said, we found this where you took the motorcycle first. We want to know where it's at. We know da-da-da-da. And I was like, I ain't got nothing on me. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. And then Jeff Walls, man, he's got a way about him. And I'm going to say on here, that man is a man of his word, and he's a good man. Him and Matt Webb both. But Jeff Walls, he told me, he said, you're at the end of your road, I can tell, and you want help, I can tell.
Right.
So are you going to seek it? And I just broke down crying. I was like, I want what my sister has. I want in this program. I just want to. And nobody had said anything to me about prison. As a matter of fact, I'd never been in trouble like that
Right.
before, so I'm pretty sure I could have got off with probation. But that's not what I wanted. That's not what was going to help me.
Right.
I wanted help, and I broke down in that chair, and Jeff Walls told me that if I would cooperate, he would do everything in his power. The RSAT program is based on usually drug charges or people that have problems with drugs that don't have a victim. But I had a victim.
Right.
So the only way was to get the victim to sign off saying that
Right.
that they would recommend me to go get in the program.
And the victim was a good friend of yours.
Yes. Actually, Kristen Buchanan was my good friend, and her mama was Myra Higgins, and it was her motorcycle that I'd stolen. And Myra Higgins could have sent me to the penitentiary. She could have.
Right.
But I got to say on here, too, she's a good woman.
She just wanted
And,
you to get the help you
She
needed.
did. She really did. She really did. And now Jeff Walls told me finding that bike's going to be 80% of the guarantee right here. So
Right.
they did locate the bike, and the bike was in perfect condition, just like I took it, other than the broken tail light. So
Right.
that was about $500 restitution. But he was a man of his word, and he jumped through hoops and pulled strings, and he went to bat for me. He really did. Him and Matt Webb both. And I didn't know this at the time, but I'd found out that Miss Myra Higgins had actually called my grandma, Roxy Stevens, and asked Grandma if she thought I was really ready and
Right.
trying to change this time. During this time, I had gotten baptized at the Superior County Jail on January 22nd, which just so happened to be my grandma's birthday. And I had gotten in Got Time Ministry and gotten a big part of it where I fully accepted Jesus Christ. I turned my life over to Jesus Christ, and Then I got saved on January 22nd. And what's crazy is I went to court the first time with one felony and a $10,000 fine. I prayed about it, but then I'd go ask Walcott and Miss Kimberly, y'all help me, help me. The second time I went to court, they hit me with the first time I went to court, they hit me with the second felony and a $15,000 bond. I prayed about it, and then I asked Walcott and Kimberly and everybody help me out, you know what I mean? The third time I went to court, they hit me with another felony and a $20,000 bond, so it just kept getting worse. And Andrew Mills, I call him Pastor Mills. He was the founder of Got Time Ministries in jail. And he told me, you got divided loyalty, man. You need to ask God to help you, believe that he's going to help you, and quit going to Walcott and Miss Kimberly and everybody and just count on God. My court date wasn't until April 28th. And on January the 28th or somewhere around in there, right before the 1st of February, they came and got me, and they're like, you're going to court. And I was like, no, I don't have court till April. They're like, you're going to court. And they offered me the program. And I got in the program, and that's where things really started to change.
Right.
I got to learn a lot about my brain and the addictive part of it. Everything Mr. Sean taught us in there about biological vulnerability and psychological liability and social context and things that I got a lot of really good knowledge. I always knew that there was some reason I had this problem of addiction so bad, but I just couldn't get a hold on it. And I learned a lot about that through the RSAT program, the Substance Abuse
Helps
Education
you to dig
program.
deep inside.
Yes, it does.
Sheila, where are you at today?
Right now, I'm looking for another job because now that, Mom's down here, it'll help me out with babysitting and stuff. And
But you've graduated out of the RSET. You graduated the 1 year. And how long ago was that?
I don't remember when it was.
How long have you
2018, I
been
believe.
clean?
I relapsed once when I got out before I had graduated my year. So like a year and a half. Yeah, because it was closer to the end of the year.
But now that you've graduated
Mhm.
and you're out of the RSET, you now have your children back.
I got Bentley back. I got custody back of her I graduated that in August because I got her back in September. It was just like a week or two after I graduated.
Right.
I got custody back of her.
And you have your own apartment, your own car.
Yes.
So for the first time, you just kind of enjoy.
Yes, I can. I have my own spot, and I'm just now getting it to where I have like stuff in there, that's cozy, a house, like a nice TV and a nice couch, not just stuff people gave me, But, I mean, there's still struggles every day. It's not just because it's been so long it makes it any easier.
Right.
I'm still living down there where everything's at, all around everything. I mean, it's not.
But you have the tools.
And the thing about the
to deal
RSA,
with
even
it.
if you mess up, they teach you the things to come back. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like they teach you how to come back.
One of the reasons that you quit your job was your mom and dad were separated going through a divorce, mainly because of you, Scott. But now you're doing very good. And they're back together.
Yep.
So they're mending their relationship, and that helps you because now you've got your babysitter back.
Yeah, because it made it hard. It was really hectic for a few months, and I lost my job. Because I had to leave early a lot to go pick up from school and stuff, and her dad's still not around, so I mean, it's not like
You didn't have help.
I don't have and I mean, his sister helps me a lot,
Right.
more than I ever expected. The one that, she had Bentley, the year Bentley was in foster care, she opened her house as a foster home, and so Bentley was with family, so it even continues, she'll keep him overnight. Give me a break. She'll pick her up if she needs to from school.
Right.
Helps me way more than I ever expected. And so, and now that he's home, I was like, well, now that my babysitter's out of jail, and everybody looks at me like, oh, I'm like, no, it's okay.
I never had girls, so her girls are my baby girls.
Right.
They're my babies. They really are. And like I said, me and Sheila's, we're close. She's like my very best friend.
Right.
She really is.
And that's good. Through all the years and all the triumphs y'all been through, y'all have stayed close.
Oh yeah, because we've had.
We've had some times.
Oh yeah.
And also, I don't know if she remembers this or not, but meth and the drugs tore me and her almost completely apart right before she went to jail. We had a big time falling out. I mean, it was a big falling out. I don't know if you remember that or not. That was
I
when
don't remember
me and
that.
Clinton was going to fight up there on the property and everything else, and it was a bad deal. We were just a strong
Him and my
out.
kid's dad never could get along.
Yeah,
very long.
we didn't.
Was the
jive
falling
too
out
much.
over drugs?
It wasn't over drugs, I don't think.
I don't remember.
No, it really wasn't over drugs. It was over something. I don't even something stupid
Right.
as far as I know, and
Obviously.
just me and him, and yeah, it was just a bad deal. But the drugs caused us to say things and do things to
Right.
each other that we would have never said.
Absolutely. I'm kind of taking at some of the things during the last, 6-8 months that you were high. It's like a cloud to you.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot from
Yeah,
the
she really
end.
doesn't.
At the end, I don't remember a whole lot at all. I think I was really more on pills then than I was dope.
The
like meth.
Xanax was just making you.
Yeah,
because
because I was getting a prescription, and then I was getting Xanaxes and Selmas, and then Clinton was getting Klonopins, and so, and plus you can buy them all
Yeah.
anywhere else too,
Right.
So
And I gotta say this on my little sister's behalf too. I'm not trying to tell her story for her, but like I said, like you said, there's a lot of clouded memories there. But Chris Walcott will tell you that he has never seen anybody have to endure as much as she endured while she was in the RSAT program. I mean, she was in there pregnant. It was just by very
6 weeks.
6 weeks
Before I
that
had
Paisley
Mary.
wasn't born. Like Walcott said, wasn't a jailhouse baby.
Right.
But not only that, she
That 3 months was the hardest time
She
of
went
my
through it.
life. I had more bad things happen in 3
Yeah.
months than I had ever. I went in there 20 days, and I got DHS coming up there. Bentley was in foster care. That was hard, and there's nothing I could do. I couldn't even call. That was very, very hard.
Right.
Then, Mom and Dad's house burnt down. And then Kylie's house burnt down. And, I was like, every time Walcott would, I was like,
Walcott will
Every
tell you
time.
he felt bad because he kept having to pull Sheila up there and be like, look.
eventually he
bad
sent
news.
Sharon in there to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last thing was finding out that my son was going through a lot too. Like I said, he hadn't been off chemo long. They put him on some very bad medicine, Effexor, and then he went to Pinnacle Point, and where they put him on Zoloft, and turned out that he was actually the one that set the 2 house fires. Now, don't get me wrong, he wasn't in his right mind at
Right.
all. He's a good kid, and my mom will tell you. Of course, that's more news that she had to get. Well, your
Right.
nephew was the one that burned the house down. They're
yeah.
hauling him to JDC.
SSRIs definitely messes with you.
Yes. Yes, it does. And so he went through it as well as a result of. And let me tell you something that I noticed that this is crazy, because the irony of the fact that I sat there time and time again, sticking a needle in my arm, getting high and trying to figure out how to make my son get right and be a good kid and whatnot. And like I said, he never was a bad kid.
Right.
If this same thing would happen to one of my sister's kids, we probably would have been like, he's just a bad little they're good kids. I love them too. But, you know what I mean? They're a little wilder than all our kids
Yeah.
are, So, but it really floored the people at Mill Creek where he was at when they were like talking about his behavioral issues, and
Right.
we're like, he doesn't have any behavioral issues. He doesn't have any anger. He doesn't
Right.
have any. He never gets mad. And they're like, this doesn't make any sense, you know.
Right.
And it was definitely, his head wasn't right, you know. But like I said, the irony of me trying to figure this out, and then when I went to jail and gave my life to Jesus Christ and got saved and was in there doing good, and all I could think was, I can't wait to get out and I'm going to teach my son, you know what I mean? Of course,
Right.
they've all grown up in church, but my son's he's walking in daddy's shoes. He's
Right.
doing what daddy does. So he wants to be just like me, you know, and I just couldn't see that because my mind was so
Right.
clouded by drugs. And so once I started straightening up, I didn't even have to get out of jail for him to start straightening up. He went and done all his community service, got
Right.
off probation with the whole thing. And when he turns 18, they'll wipe all that clean, you know.
Good.
But yeah, that's all I had to do. Walk a little straighter, like the song says, you know.
You know, it's very important right now. I know that you're struggling with the past of being a daddy, but he's 14 right now, and he needs you right now more than ever before, because teenagers are the hardest with peer pressure and everything out there. So
Yep.
be proud that you're going forward. You're what he needs to help be on the right road. And you just recently graduated the RSAT.
May
So
2nd.
you're in the 9-month aftercare.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me where you see yourself 5 years from now.
Hopefully married to my newfound love, Tabitha. She is such a good woman. And
Y'all found each other both
In the RSAT
In the
program.
RSAT program. So you're being strength for each other.
yes, we are. And they kind of frown upon that. They didn't. We got in trouble, I don't know how many times in jail for writing letters. But we were. I don't know. There's something
Love is
between.
love.
There's something between us, man. That just, man, and we really are in love, and we want to get married, and all we have to do is get in a place, have our own place, and jobs, and pay our bills for 6 months before all 3 of her kids will come to live with us, and Choctaw Nation will build us a house.
And you're working on getting a job now.
I've got a job.
You do have a
I
job.
got hired on with Tyson's day before yesterday.
Awesome.
Yesterday, I actually start Monday.
Very good.
So and that's already a really good deal because we got CPR certified in the RSAT program, and being that I'm been doing construction and maintenance and stuff my whole life, they're going to try to push me in really quickly to the maintenance side
that's
of
good.
Tyson's, which I'll get a really good promotion, really good pay increase.
Right.
And I was a Vanderbilt volunteer firefighter, and I really liked being a firefighter. I never made it to Module 18, which is first responder. So I really want to get back into that. And they have their own first responders in maintenance at Tyson's. So I'll be able to get in there, get a good pay increase, become a first responder, get back into the firefighting thing, and
Good.
things that I was always one of them that, like, my mom used to tell me that you're always trying to help other people when you can't even stand on your own 2 feet,
Right.
you know, and that's my thing. I like helping other people. And besides that, the way I see it, as many times as I should have been dead, you know, if I die from saving somebody, whether it be a car wreck or a fire or whatnot, let that be my fate, you know.
Right.
One of my biggest fears has always been my kids finding me with a needle in my arm dead, you know. And I can't even begin to sit here and count the friends that I've got that are in the ground from drug overdose.
Absolutely. You know, you wanting to help people, it just shows you've got a good heart. You just got on the wrong road in life. Where do you see yourself, Sheila, 5 years from now?
I'm so indecisive about that. Because, like, I need to work, but I really want to go back to school and finish what I started. And I just haven't made that step yet. But I'm really nervous about going back to school.
What would you like to be?
I've already
Career-wise.
started. Well, I've already got like 2.5 years in for occupational therapy. I only lack about 1.5 years, 2 tops.
And you know that's not long.
No, and I would be done. But I mean, I feel like I've done drugs a long time. Like, I've done burnt up a lot of brain cells. So it's kind of nerve-wracking to go back, you know. But I know I really need to, and I do want to. I just, at the same time, like, I need a job, and I need money.
Well, you
So,
could do both. You could work and go to college.
I could, but, that would be hard.
Let me tell you something,
It is
Sheila.
hard.
This girl sitting beside me, man. She got the part of the Flournoy side that she has that she's not near as up and talking. Hi, how you doing? Hi, how you
Right.
doing? To every stranger in Walmart
You're
like
more
I am.
soft-spoken.
She really is, but she is a good person. She's got a good heart, and she's always been a hard worker. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind she'd
Right.
go to school and take care of her kids and be a really strong mother and do, you know, the things that I've seen her do it. I
Right.
mean, she excels fast, and she's likable, and
She needs a
tired.
boost to get back
I
into
know.
college.
I know, I need to. I really want to.
You would be proud, you know, and have a
Yeah.
career set for you for the rest of your life.
I know, because I'm really, like, tired of the job. It's like I want a career.
Right. And a year and a half, I mean, time flies by so fast. The older you get, the faster time flies.
Right. I'm ready to do it because I've been saying forever, you know, because, I mean, I quit when I was 21. It's been
Yeah.
a long time now. I need to finish.
see, that's me too with the whole career thing. Is I got my CRC certificate, and it's actually a silver, which is what you got to have, either a silver or gold to go get on with Weyerhaeuser or Domtar.
Right.
And like I was talking to my grandma, I may get in maintenance and stuff with Tyson and may decide to stay there forever. But I have been doing construction, whether it be framing, building houses, or mostly roofing, siding, and windows since 2005 or so, you know.
Right.
And like I said, D. Hauser pretty much taught me everything I know about that, and I've made a lot of really good money. I can't even tell you how much money I've made. I probably made a lot more money than some of the doctors in this town at one point. I mean, made a lot of money, but I never have anything to show for it. In
Right.
the wintertime, I never, or it rains like it did that year for 3 months straight,
Right.
and you don't make no money, and I'm really sick
Seasonal.
of that. I would rather make, you know, $400 a week and it be Monday through Friday every
Right.
week, you know, guaranteed.
Steady paycheck.
And I've never had insurance and benefits, and I don't even know what vacation time or sick leave would feel like, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Absolutely. How old are your kids now, Sheila?
5 and 1.
5 and 1. Very good. I'm proud of you, Scotty, number one.
Thank you.
You've come a long way, and I'm proud that your mom and dad are back together now, and everybody, family-wise, is on the mend, and that's a good thing. I'm proud of you, Sheila. And, you know, I would encourage you to get back into college
Yes.
and get your career. You just need a little boost to get there, but
Yeah. Need something.
and as a single parent, it is hard to focus on that work and college, but you know, maybe there's grants and stuff out there that'll help you as well. But
I bet
proud.
there's a lot.
yeah, thank you all both very much for being here.
Thank
you.
you. Thank you
Okay.
for having us.
Hi, I'm Dee. I'm the host of the Shattered Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell on the notifications so you won't miss an episode. I'm very passionate about helping families. If you are an expert that would like to help or would like to share your testimony, please contact me. Thank you.